What's going on, Jerome's? The NFL regular season is over for 18 teams around the league. It's not the Minnesota Fighting Vikings. So the top 18 picks of the 2023 NFL draft have been solidified. There's some movement right at the end. Thank you, Lovie Smith. Hey, Lovie Smith finally helping the Bears. There you go. It's awesome. So, yes, the crooked Chicago Bears are up at number 1. Ryan Poles, hey, we're taking the North and not giving it back. Well, I guess we're taking the number 1 overall pick and not giving it back. Now, there's a number of things that they can do. So they can, of course, trade off the pick to a team that wants to jump, teams like the Texans or the Colts looking for a quarterback. And Chicago should get a windfall. Depending on how far they move down or which team wants to move up, they should get maybe 3 first-round picks, and I can't wait to see how they F those up. Or maybe they fall in love with Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or Will Levis or Anthony Richardson at quarterback. And even though Justin Fields was great this year, is his style of play, can you do that for a decade? I don't know. Maybe the trade market for Justin Fields will be pretty sizable, and they'll take their quarterback because, remember, Poles and Eberflus, they inherited Justin Fields. They did not draft him. That was the previous regime of a fake-ass Brad Childress as well as Ryan Pace. Stop hiring Ryans as your GM, man. Anyways, also, this is hilarious to me. It's a full order. There we go. So remember the trade deadline swap where the Bears picked up Chase Claypool? That ended up being the 33rd overall pick. Well, 32nd since the Dolphins forfeited their first round pick. So yeah, they basically traded a super high. It's just amazing for Claypool. Awesome. But so the Bears are up at 1. Texans at 2. Now, Texans will have their choice of quarterback. Say Young goes off the board or Stroud or whoever. They will have their choice of quarterback of the future. Arizona is a bit of a wild card. Are they sort of done with Kyler? I don't really know, but they need help all over the place. JJ retiring. This would be a great spot for a guy like Jalen Carter, or if they want to go edge rusher, Will Anderson would make a ton of sense there, or potentially trading down for a team that needs a quarterback and amassing as many picks as possible because it's a mess in the desert. With the Colts, the Colts have to be all in on a quarterback. And I actually think that Indianapolis would be a candidate to move up to 1 because, A, it's not that far from 4 to 1, and then you would have their choice of quarterback. And I think a guy like C.J. Stroud would just be fantastic with the Colts. They got Seattle at 5. So, props to John Schneider, man. I've given John Schneider some crap, but it was the absolute right time to move on from Russell Wilson. They swindled the Broncos, and now they have a top 5 pick. And they could go a lot of directions here where they could draft the quarterback of the future. They could have Geno Smith play for a year or 2, and then they could just take really whoever they want. Skornowski would be interesting. Quentin, they don't need a receiver. But if Jalen Carter falls out, or Miles Murphy, or whoever. Keely Ringo. Although Ringo did not have a good semifinal game, is what it is there. But there's a lot of different ways that the Seahawks could go, and also the Lions. How about those Lions? So the Lions get the number 18 overall pick because of their status. They missed the playoffs. It's whatever. But also they have the first round pick of the Rams from the Matthew Stafford trade, so they get 6 and 18. They're set up pretty good. Could you find a way where you're able to pair up they already got another great edge rusher, but maybe something insane happens, or maybe they go cornerback in this spot, Joey Porter Jr. or Ringo or whoever here. So I think that they need a lot of help on the defensive side of the ball. They could certainly get it. I think that the future in Detroit is very, very bright. It's ridiculous, man. Vegas is clearly moving on from Derek Carr. Do they draft a quarterback? Do they make a move up in the draft order to secure their guy? Because I think there's going to be 4 quarterbacks taken probably in the top 10. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis of Kentucky, who's a little bit more of a project, but you're betting on physical upside, and definitely a project and betting on physical upside is Anthony Richardson. I think that he is the true wild card, where I think that he is going to blow up the combine. I think that he's going to do well as pro day. It wouldn't shock me at all if he's not the 4th quarterback taken, and maybe 1, 2, 3, and definitely in the top 10. And then Atlanta, are they sold on Desmond Ridder? They're sort of in no man's land at this point. Carolina obviously needs a signal caller. I don't think they're sold on Sam Darnold. The Eagles end up with the number 10 overall pick from the Saints. Saints won a couple games at the end because there was a point where the Eagles were running away with the 1 seed, which they eventually secured allegedly. And the Saints were in the bottom 3 or the top 3 of the draft. It's kind of crazy. Tennessee, I don't know. Are you sold on Malik Willis? Tannehill can't beat. No. And Houston, I mean, that's why Houston is an interesting spot where even though Caserio may be on thin ice for a head coach, you have the number 2 and the number 12 overall pick. This selection, of course, coming from the Deshaun Watson trade. I don't know. Jets have a nice young nucleus, and they have the 13th pick. New England, I mean, up in the, well, not lottery, but you know what I mean, the non-playoff places yet again. The greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers, probably not taking a wide receiver here. Quentin Johnston would make a ton of sense if he fell this far. Or, you know, looking at some of the other receivers, Addison, Jackson Smith makes some sense here too. Washington, I don't know, man. Pittsburgh, getting some protection for Kenny Pickett would be paramount in the spot, and then Detroit has that extra pick. And then the picks TBD. Now remember, there's only 31 selections in the first round because Miami forfeited their pick because they're like talking to Sean Payton and Tom Brady. But yeah, however it shakes out, and wherever the Vikings pick, they pick, and I'm not really too worried about it. But I think the Vikings will be picking 31 overall. Also of note, so the Broncos are obviously watching the Niners, where, I mean, the deeper the Niners go, the worse this pick gets, because it was a pick that went from San Francisco to Miami as part of the Trey Lance trade, and then Miami sent that pick to the Broncos for Bradley Chubb. So, I mean, the Broncos may be using this draft pick to trade for Sean Payton. So, of course, they're watching with a lot of interest of where the Niners are going to end up. But that's it. Let's take a look at the 2023 NFL draft order so far. The top 18 selections are locked in. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.